Good morning, everybody. It is March 23rd today, and that means that we're starting the book of Deuteronomy. And if you know me, you know that Deuteronomy is one of my favorite books. And so one of the reasons it's one of my favorite books is because of the details in it. There's a lot of really neat details that show us a lot about the character of God. And the overarching theme and tone of the book is really about his love for his people, motivated not by who they are or what they have done or what they will do, but just by his choice of them to be his people, even though they were insignificant and would continue to be insignificant. He still loves them and works in and through them. And so one of those little small details here that I think is always interesting occurs right in the beginning of the book. Verse 2, it says, "It takes 11 days to go from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by the Mount Seir road." And then that's all in parentheses. And then verse 3, it says, "In the 40th year, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses proclaimed to the Israelites that the Lord had commanded him concerning them." So what should have taken 11 days ends up taking them 40 years. And there's a contrast that's happening here. And what the question would become, well, why does it take them to go 40 years? Why does it take them 40 years to be due what should have taken 11 days? And um, yeah, I think this is the reason for this is that it's really highlighting the disobedience of the people, the perseverance of God, the faithfulness of God, but the disobedience that makes all of that necessary and shows God's perseverance, his faithfulness to his people in spite of their unfaithfulness. And so that's what you get at the beginning story is about the spies that go into the land to check it out, and they come back with a report that it is indeed a good land and that God is giving it to us, but they are afraid to go up and terrified, it says. And so out of that terror, they refuse initially to go, and then they try to go on their own, and that leads to disastrous consequences, including 40 years worth of wandering in the wilderness, where all of that generation is going to die. And even Moses himself isn't going to enter the land. Only Joshua and Caleb are going to get to enter into the land. So it's the beginning of the journey in Deuteronomy. What he's doing at the beginning here is Moses is recounting the history of Israel and their relationship with the Lord and the covenant that God makes with them as they're just about to enter into the land. So this is the end of their desert wanderings, and so he is recounting everything that brought them to this point. And as they look across into the Jordan, he's helping to give some instructions so that once they get over to the other side, they'll know how to live in God's promised land. And that's going to be a key phrase here too, in the land. This is what you're supposed to do in the land that the Lord your God is giving to you to possess it. And so that you might be successful as God views success when you're there, that you might live a long life, that you might enjoy the fruits of the land, and that He might preserve you alive in that place. And so you'll see those phrases repeated a lot through this book. So, all right, looking forward to the next few weeks in this book.